He didn't really mention to Adrien Brody he was no longer the lead.
You would hope that they would have told him.
I think he found out maybe at the junket when they said, "And what part are you?"
Get back there.
Adrien Brody was just 23 years old when he received the extraordinary chance to star as the lead in Terrence Malick's The Thin Red Line. Shot in 1997, it marked Malick's long-awaited return to cinema after 2 decades of silence, following Badlands and Days of Heaven, films already enshrined as landmarks of the 1970s. His reemergence was nothing less than a major cultural event, eagerly anticipated by cinephiles and industry insiders alike.
He got like an unbelievable sort of roster of big Hollywood talent.
Brody's character appeared more than any other in Malick's expansive 190-page script. He was considered the perfect anchor for this stellar ensemble, not only because of his talent, but also,
he just looked old-fashioned. He looked like a person of the period who belonged in this movie.
naturally, Brody was ecstatic.
I just was so excited to get great work and work with a genius director and be surrounded by the most amazing actors.
Trade papers announced him as the lead. His publicist secured him a coveted spot on the cover of Vanity Fair's Hollywood issue in 1999. Momentum was building toward an Oscar campaign, as everyone assumed this would be his breakout performance. But Terrence Malick had other plans, and rather, no fixed plan at all. His approach to filmmaking was famously unconventional, and The Thin Red Line would prove no exception.
Now, it's true of, I think, film in general, but nowhere, in my experience, more extreme than with Terry, that he writes the script 3 times. He writes it when he writes it, he writes it when he shoots it, he rewrites it in the editing room, and can be completely different films.
He says it about himself, I find the film in the edit. Now, that is the ding-dong, the warning bell.
Malick's editing process is radical, precisely because he shoots such an overwhelming volume of footage.
We shot 1.5 million feet of film. In other films, you may hear like, oh, that was a great moment in that film. But in this, it wasn't a shame we had to cut all those moments out.
He edits his films in such a way that he cuts everybody out of them.
Mickey Rourke, I think, was completely cut out of it, or maybe appears in sort of one scene. Billy Bob Thornton did a voiceover. Bye-bye voiceover. Lucas Haas, Bill Pullman are completely cut. Everyone has been cut out of The Thin Red Line.
Some actors vanished entirely, their roles erased. Others saw their work reduced to fragments. George Clooney's part was almost entirely discarded. Yet the harshest blow fell upon Brody.
He wasn't fully on the cutting room floor, but there was a snippet of him left in the film. No. He is not in any way the lead of this movie.
After carefully watching the finished film and reviewing the footage, I can confirm that Brody's screen time amounts to less than 3 minutes in total. More often than not, he lingers silently in the background. When the camera does find him, it's usually to show him looking around in wordless observation. Even more cruelly, he began the film's press tour, still unaware of how drastically his role had been gutted.
Brody
didn't even know.
Going to the premiere
He was
and
the
not
lead.
seeing himself on the
He was the
screen.
lead in the movie.
No.
He went to the premiere.
And they didn't tell him?
They didn't tell him.
I think he found out maybe at the junket when they said, "And what part are you?"
He didn't really mention to Adrien Brody he was no longer the lead.
You would hope that they would have told him.
And he was in it, but just like
He had no lines.
around the
Yeah, he
edges.
completely reshaped the movie.
In the edit, Terrence Malick just found his eye constantly drawn to Jim Caviezel, and he ends up being sort of effectively the lead.
That was probably the greatest loss creatively that I've had, and hopefully will remain that. Not being in a movie that is a dream project and you're already touted and kind of publicly put out there as the author's persona, etc.
It was extremely unpleasant, he later admitted to The Independent. There was public embarrassment and the very real threat of career disaster. I had no idea the role had been eviscerated. But looking back, I feel lucky. At that age, that kind of sudden acclaim could have been just as destructive. Not every actor who's been reshaped or erased in Malick's edit bay has managed to find that same silver lining.
Christopher Plummer, in a different movie, in The New World, said there was nothing of me left in that movie. Terrence Malick was obsessed with birds, and he kept just cutting to birds. He'd say, oh, look, there's an osprey over there.
Terry gets terribly involved in sort of poetic shots, which are gorgeous. They're paintings, all of them. But he gets lost in that, and the stories get diffused, particularly in our film. I'll never work with him again, of course. I mean, he won't have me. Oh, I told him, he said, you're so boring. I said, you've got to get yourself a writer. My career with Mr. Malick is over.
Even Sean Penn, who collaborated with Malick twice, expressed frustration at his diminished role in The Tree of Life. He called the screenplay the most magnificent one I've ever read, but admitted he could not find that same emotional resonance on screen. Frankly, I'm still trying to figure out what I was doing there and what I was meant to contribute. Terry himself never managed to explain it.